Anytime you want to start, I'm good. Just you let me know when we're going live so that I can be ready.
And welcome to Trekyards, everyone. My name is Commander Kongs,
Is that an indication that we're live?
and he is Captain Foley, and we're today looking at the Picard show. Would it be great if I hadn't gone live? This is just a screw with you, like double screw with you. Yes, Stuart, we are in front of our plethora of people who, our live
A
studio audience
plethora
is
of
here
people.
waiting. Beyond my very close to my face wall. Really, it's not far away. This wall. There's a studio audience, and they're gonna listen to us talk about this guy who is now internationally famous, because he's the only one in the Picard 2-second leaked footage that isn't Patrick Stewart, and now he's internationally famous, whoever he is.
Yes.
Although he's presumably still on set right now because that was many days ago. They're filming.
True.
Or something like that.
All right.
How
So
you doing,
yes,
Stuart?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Yeah, I think this will bounce us back into life. I think, as it often does.
Dan23 says he emailed us a link about the uniforms, which I think I know what it'll be. So let's go take a
We'll
look at
talk
that.
about that a little bit later. There is an infographic, although it's fan made, so it's not. It's
Well,
interesting.
I wouldn't
but
say fan made. It's Aaron Harvey.
well,
He's
yes.
It's as officially fan made as you can get. And yeah, that's exactly what the link is. So thank you, Dan. We've already seen it. It's already ready to go.
Yes.
I already talked to Aaron, the guy that did it up earlier today.
Yes.
Got permission to use it and all that jazz as well. So it's a very important.
Breaking fan interpretation news, because it is, obviously, really just the com badge. The other uniform bit is obviously, like, you can see it. It's just the com badge that is completely guesswork. But, be fun to talk about. But let's see who's joined us today. And this will be, hopefully a lot of you guys are joining, because this is the future, both in terms of what we can look forward to, the future of the Trek timeline, and with the Discovery being a somewhat letdown overall, this could be the future of good Trek and really blowing into
just the progression of things. So this is actually a very logical progression of uniforms, but you need to share this.
Yes.
And while you're sharing this, I will talk about the importance of super chats, guys, as always.
Okie dokie.
Super chats help the channel much more so than Samuel does, apparently. So if you guys are wanting to get your voice heard, your question answered, make sure that we see what you're saying and read it for everyone else to hear. The best way to do that is super chat, because it does come up in a separate window, plus it's colored, so we get to see it. The normal chat flies by, and we usually miss things, and we apologize. There's sometimes Patreon members and stuff in the chat that are like asking questions, but we miss them sometimes. The moderators are there for that, to try to bring my attention to it, but sometimes even that gets missed. So yeah, the best way to do it is super chats. It helps support the channel, so you're helping us out, and at the same time you're getting your voice heard, your opinion stated, your question answered, and it's important that way. So,
and it's worth saying that we earn over 50% of our YouTube income from super chats, and so very, very important and very appreciated, and that's why we keep doing these lives. And we do love the live format. It's a great way of interacting directly with us, having really good discussions, having breaking news stuff often, and people, and when we talk ourselves on videos and have done for the last almost 5 years, we're both very knowledgeable, but random people know random things, and having a live chat, people engaging, is so nice to be able to say, what's that episode talking about, and then wait 10 seconds for our lag, and then oh my god, they are saying it. It's a really, really useful format. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
want to keep doing
it makes the review format a lot funner for me, because it is more interactive, and we get those details we might not remember or know offhand, helped out with. So but yeah, if you guys want to help, you can do that. There's also many links down below to like our Teespring store, our Patreon if you want to help us on a monthly basis, the Teespring store if you want to pick up some cool Trekyards merchandise, or even just send us a donation via PayPal so that YouTube doesn't take their cut off the top, like they do with all the super chats. There's many ways to help us out, and if you do send us a PayPal, just make sure you let us know in the chat, and we will check our email and read your comment via PayPal, if that's the way you choose to do it. So anyway, we got 2 super chats already, so thank you very much to Joseph Petrick, of course, puts in €2. Let's kick off the money flow. Hi, Trekyards. Hello, Joseph. How's it going? It's not creepy at all. Thank you very much for the donation. Very helpful. DS Rider puts in £1.99. I've already posted my theory up above in the chat, and I guess we'll have to go find it. Maybe one of the moderators can do that for us, and then present it to me here. So best way to, so I don't have to scroll through all the chat because it's always moving, kind of annoying. David Kaler in the chat says, hi to my fiance when we watch this later. We love watching Trekyards. Thanks for all you guys do. Well, hello, David, and the fiance, Danny. Hello, Danny. How are you?
Hello.
Trekyards says hi.
Gosh,
congratulations on your upcoming nuptials.
Make the most of it.
And that wasn't even a super chat. Just caught that one because I was looking at the other regular chat. Polish Gamer puts in 10 pounds. Oh. Thank you very much.
Crazy man.
Only thing I don't really like is the badge. The pips don't bother me too much, though I'll always prefer them to the collar, on the collar. Maybe I'll just get used to it, like I did with the disco and other uniforms. Well, we haven't really seen the badge officially. The ones that were released earlier by Aaron Harvey, even there's 3 different versions, and he says my 3 best guesses, and it's still speculative as to what that's going to look like. He doubts very much that they'll go with the all good things look, just because they want to sell more merchandise. So of course they're going to make it a little bit different.
I did say to you as well.
Yeah, but I do like the badge look from All Good Things. I think that's a good look. And
that would be a good one to talk about a little bit later, because that's all concept stuff, and we can break it down a little bit and think about it. But I do think that graphic's a little bit, it says blatantly on it that it's not real, but people are gonna,
people are already taking it in and assuming it's real.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, Discovery, he did a very similar thing, and they even used it on the website formally, but it's still interpretation, even though it's going to be shared and people will think. So it would have been nice if it had been a little bit more clearly like fan, but... And
it is trekmovie.com that was made for, so we want to give them the shout out that they deserve.
We'll talk about that again when we get there, but sticking with the canon image at this point, pardon me.
Yes. But Raymond Borg puts in $14.99 Australian dollars with no comment, but thank you very much. We will assimilate your money into our collective.
Although he did say a minute ago in the chat, when you have a look at these uniforms, they look like from Star Trek Online. Well, the problem is literally every single uniform is in Star Trek Online, and you can customize any piece of any uniform with any color. And so you could make this uniform in Star Trek Online, but in fact, they look like maybe a version, but also they don't like the standard duty uniform, because there is the Enterprise F, which is the standard current ship, and they don't look at all like that uniform. So, like I say, you can make any uniform. Like when they did the Discovery Season 1 uniforms, and then when Pike was revealed in the trailer, people went ahead and went into the Discovery uniform settings in Stowe and just made the top half gold. And were like, look, I made the Discovery Season 2 uniform. It wasn't custom, it was just, you could change the colour. So you can make anything. You can make purple, pink ones if you really want to.
Well, speaking of, let's just start this conversation. Let's get that fantastic graphic you did up so people can see the progression.
Lots of caveats here. But any first reactions?
What's that?
Lots of caveats in this image, in the logic behind it all. But do you have any first thoughts before I explain it slightly so that everyone is on the same page?
I mean, I'm just super impressed with the graphic, because you can see a progression. You can see the moving, the ideas flowing through all of these, even with the rank pips progressing down. It's natural progression. It looks good. So yay. All right, what do you want to explain about it?
Yes, so obviously it's in time order, starting with the first version of the TNG uniform, and that's a weird one because the transition point between the Wrath of Khan uniforms, which Picard used at the Academy, shows how late they were in the timeline. But we know that Picard was using the first set of TNG ones for when he's on the Stargazer, so we know they're older than the first season TNG. And according to Memory Alpha, there's a picture of a crew member, and this was then that picture was set. So we know there were at least 2253, and this was the transition point to the TNG season 2 or season 3 ones, 66. The last 3 years for the Voyager ones, which are obviously at the same period. They
coexisted
for a few months. Although it's worth saying that you still see TNG at Earth for a bit, and then you first see the First Contact /Nemesis /TNG /DS9 ones in DS9 actually, although they were designed for the movie. They first were seen in Nemesis, it's in DS9 Season 3, in 2373, and then technically speaking, you've got the Countdown comic, which is meant to be canon, although it's, again, alternate universe weird, even though it is meant to be Prime Timeline, it's a bit weird, and different license, blah, 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 blah. But that is the uniform they invented for that comic, which this is meant to be somewhat based on, potentially. That's 87. Then you've got the first version of the Future Timeline uniform is seen for the All Good Things, which is the earliest that was seen as a uniform in 2395. But as we know, that uniform was used only when we go to the future, but you always change that future. But since it was separately shown in about 5 different alternate futures, all of which were the future until they weren't, it's safe to say that both the badge and the uniform would exist, because every single time we saw beyond a certain point, it was always that uniform. So if they were common sense, they would use that uniform. And then if that was in 2395 as the earliest, and we do see it post, because the end games Janeway takes place in 2405, so Picard should already be using this uniform and stick with it. But whichever, we just know that if it is seen 2395, and then Picard takes place in 2399. So that's kind of a sense of the progression. But you should remove Countdown, because it's not canon. It's not prime, and it's weird. And they, if everything in that's exactly as it happened, then that's a problem for the rest of the universe probably, and the futures are all you can kind of ignore them semi, although it's at least the badge should come through, because that's always seen, even in Timeless, where we see future Geordi LaForge, who's in still the First Contact uniform, is wearing the future badge. So that badge is every single time you're in the future, that is the badge that should be in this timeline. No ifs, no buts, sort of thing. And then we obviously get to the Picard uniform. So that's just some caveats, because there's, like I said, caveats to it.
Yes, caveats. And one of the things I want to address, right away too. Well, first of all, I want to get to Jill Wright's super chat of $2. Thank you very much, Jill. Great to see you. Any uniform that doesn't look like spandex is a win. I'll agree with that. That's why everybody's complaining about the loose-fitting nature and cheap look of this new Picard uniform, which, honestly, if you look at the one from All Good Things, I think that's a lot cheaper looking and crappier looking for me. In comparison. I mean, look at it. It looks, seriously, it looks like season 1 TNG style quality. And
they look smart.
I don't think they do. I think the black stripe is lazy looking, but whatever. I kind of disagree with the whole they look cheap. I mean, they do look a little ill-fitting, but that could be early screening footage or test footage or something. I don't know, before.
And also it's just this guy. Like we can't tell anyone else. It's just this one guy. I mean, he might have been, recast that day. Who the hell knows? Although it's likely this is, footage specifically filmed for promo stuff. Like you say, I assume this isn't necessarily going to make it into the final cut, because yes, doesn't quite fit it well, or he's just lost some weight. I mean, it definitely doesn't look as if it was made for him.
Yeah. Plus we don't know the context of the scene either. There could be another explanation for it. He just got it last minute and threw it on before he turned around and, what's your name, sir? I don't know. Polish Gamer puts in £2 and says, TOS uniform, jumper, trousers, boom, all you need.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Brandon Gross says, maybe this guy's just a one-line character. Well, yeah, but if you're showing a teaser with the guy, then you should make sure he looks good. Unless, like I say, it's just test footage, they just happen to film something.
That's kind of what I'm thinking a little bit.
Something to show at that CBS internal presentation, which is where this 2 seconds of clip was shown.
And something to throw people like us off that are going to analyze this out the wazoo. It could be that there's still black piping that has to go along the top of the collar and down on the V. Who knows, really? Could be an unfinished version. So you got to take all that into consideration when you look at these kind of things. Until we get more footage and stuff, we're not able to be sure on that. There is a theory as well, which when I was talking to Aaron, who did the graphic, he had said that it could be possible that this Picard focuses more on the civilian aspect of things. So we're not going to see many Starfleet uniforms, and if we do, they're just going to kind of be in the background. I don't know about that, but it's something to consider at least.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on that.
I wouldn't either, but it's worth mentioning.
And since it's speaking of it, here's the full graphic done by Aaron Harvey for Trek Movie, and as you can see, it's a beautiful graphic. He does tremendous work, and it's a good summary in terms of that you can see there is a little notch. I mean, it really is a simple uniform, although it's nicely familiar. I mean, there's something to be said for the Discovery one is so out the park that having something actually looking Trek is a real benefit. I mean, I think even if you'd polled most people, they wouldn't have asked for the Enterprise jumpsuits. If you just had a poll, here's a test one. Do you want that uniform? Yes or no? And I think you have like 65 to 80% no. This, I think, I don't appreciate people saying it looks like Voyager, therefore fire them all. I mean, there are many differences, and it's probably as close as it's as similar and as different. It's like 50-50. It's both very similar and very different in equal ways. And this is the graphic that shows off that notch and the concept com badge, which it doesn't isn't how it's going to look necessarily. And certainly when I saw the clip, I didn't see an oval. I just saw a point. So I don't know if it even has an under bit.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the speculative badges there. It just looks like the oval is loose and fell. It just looks awful.
I mean, I'm fine with. I like the idea of having an oval, but in the All Good Things like split, because then it's like a closer TNG than All Good Things. Like there's still something of that All Good Thingsness, which has got a split. The Janeway does have, and there's some chemistry there.
Yeah,
but it's sad to see the slice in the delta, which shouldn't be there at all.
I don't even remind me about that, but yes, you're right. John Houston puts in $5. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
This is most likely a cadet uniform evolution. Yes, now, either cadet or Starfleet Academy, perhaps.
Now we said that very early on, but unfortunately, this guy is an ensign, which means he's past the cadet stage. Here is a cadet uniform, Nova Squad, which is very, very similar. And I'm assuming inspiration for it. They've got the collar. I mean, that's it. But I mean, it's closer. But these guys don't have ranks. And obviously, while it's not unreasonable for you to have the same ensign, the same academy uniform for 30 years, now we know it's got rank. It wouldn't make sense that this would be the academy uniform, and you wouldn't have an ensign only uniform. That would be weird. Just give everyone the same uniform, because that's otherwise what you can have a captain only uniform. I mean, doesn't quite. That's a very for the sake of it.
Maybe in the future, because of the Dominion War, Starfleet's been split up into the military side and the sciences side. So maybe there's two different Starfleet uniforms all in one organization.
Maybe. Yeah.
Who knows?
There's so much they could do with it. There really is.
Yeah. Joseph Petrick puts in €2. I like the look, but pips should be on the collar. Yes and no. I kind of like them being down here. It's more, it's more like the military almost, because you got your, if you're pilot in the Navy, you got your pilot's wings there, and then your medals, and I kind of like that. And if you look at the progression of that chart that Samuel did, if you include the Countdown comics, it's up there. Then All Good Things, it's still there, and then I kind of like the fact that they're kind of migrating down a little bit.
I definitely to go with you, and I actually kind of like the collar. I like the collar being higher. I like the black split. It actually has a nice personality to it, and so it wouldn't make sense to have the pips like right up here on your neck. So naturally, where they go there, I'm actually fine with it. It's very easily seeable. There's a nice contrast with the whatever color, and the fact that we've got pips and not random Discovery stuff again. No, I think it's. I mean, it would be nice if there was like maybe another cutout there, where they would fit in. So it's not just like on the uniform. So it's actually a section would be nice, but.
Yeah, or even the black to notch up a little bit so that the pips are on a black section that sticks up.
Yeah, exactly.
That would look actually really sharp with the gold pips on the black.
Yeah.
But
and then you've got like the outer, the going down bit and then two going up bits would create like an interesting pattern. And maybe one has like Maybe like a very thin com badge, just like or like a some other technical thing, and then the other one's the rank. I don't know.
Yeah.
But well, that's not what it is. So.
Yeah. Axel Foley puts in
Oh,
10 euros.
do you know
Thank
him?
you.
Is he a genuine relation?
I, well, it's Beverly Hills Cop. You can
Oh
see him there.
yeah.
This is Axel Foley. That was my nickname in high school. Everybody called me Axel because of the Foley thing. But anyway, he says, "Hi guys, I like the uniforms. Really, Star Trek recognizable. Is the color yellow a bit different than the older ones, or is it the lighting image quality?" I would think it's the image quality and the lighting. It seems to be natural lighting. Very big windows in that in front of him because Picard's in front of him and the doors are behind Picard. So I'd say it's a little bit of both. Just the lighting quality and the image quality. So,
and given the fact they filmed this so recently and that it was so rushed and it was only meant to be an internal thing, this is absolutely a non-color graded version. So the costumes are this bright, but they're going to color grade it down. I mean, if you've seen real uniforms, I mean, look at TOS; they're actually green, but they present as, gold. And now do you go with the canon of them being gold or green? Well, both are right in a different context. And TNG red is a different red. I mean, just here in my graphic, you can see just the way the color grading is. The Farpoint early ones look like a more winey red, and then they're more reddy red, and then they all change, but they're probably very similar reds. They just are color graded differently. So I think it's very much just super early footage, and they're going to refine that a lot more. Is my absolute guess.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Polish Gamer puts in £10. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think until they put out an official trailer online publicly, everything needs to be taken with a grain of salt. That said, voicing complaints and opinions is good. It lets them know how to improve. Yeah. And I just want to lead right into Trent Cullicutt's $5 Canadian super chat, who says, "Not everything in the trailer shows up in the same in production, like the TIE fighter scene in Rogue One." That was trailer bait. That was made for the trailer, and that kind of pissed me off. But I don't think the television stuff is necessarily the same. But yeah, if it's early footage or it's something that doesn't make the final cut, it's just what they have filmed now, I can see that happening. So yeah, and everything does need to be taken with a grain of salt. That this image is, I don't know if it was taken off somebody's phone that recorded the thing or how it was presented.
As Jamal Taylor said, this isn't even a trailer; it's an internal teaser.
Yes.
Not meant for outside consumption. It was leaked to maintain buzz. Yeah, it was. At the end at the bottom of the picture, it's shows 39 minutes of 1 hour 30. It was an internal CBS conferencey thing, and they showed literally 2 shots and logo, and then the logo was released publicly. Someone tweeted out a picture of Picard. And then someone managed to get footage out of those 2 seconds, and it's just the guy saying, "Can I get your name?" And Picard's like, "Hmm," and that's it.
Really?
I mean, it was just literally to show, look, we got Patrick Stewart in a thing. Look, there's a Star Trek looking costume. Look, give us money for more CBS. So it's super early, and they might just film this because, or they might do reshoots depending. I mean, think how many reshoots were done on Discovery. I mean, God knows how many. Well, a lot of reshoots on both seasons. Yes.
Yeah. File Mike says leaked. Right. Could have been officially leaked.
Yeah.
But John Houston puts in $5.
Thank you.
Ensigns are worse than cadets. Just ask my Trek counterpart, Senior NCO Miles O'Brien. Okay. Legit. And Douglas Ritchie puts in $1 with no comment, but thank you very much, Douglas. Very much appreciated. Now, people have been comparing these to the Star Trek Online uniforms.
I have the one that's presented as the one that looks like.
Yeah, I knew you did. So that's something I want to address as well because, as you said, you can make any costume essentially in Star Trek Online. There's so many variations and ways to change them. So it's kind of a very broad. Yeah, it's a very broad comment.
And if you look, all it shares in common is it has a higher collar. That's it. It doesn't share the black grit. It doesn't share the black side bit. It doesn't share anything. And that's a standard, one of the more standard away team mission jackets. And then here you've actually got the meant to be mostly standard uniform of the time, which is the Enterprise F Odyssey uniform, and obviously that's the flagship of the era, so that's meant to be the sort of baseline uniform. As you can see, it's a white uniform with a red stripe, which does not at all reflect this costume. It's not. I'm sure you can make this uniform in Stowe, this Picard one, but it's not from Stowe. But the fact that, I mean, at some point, if Stowe's been designing new uniforms for 10 years, guess what? Something of Stowe is going to be used, in the sense of people design similar things. If you've, had 10 years designing 50 things, well, at some point, someone's going to think the same thing if they don't know about it, And it's certainly a problem if Picard shows won't want to use Stowe designs, and they'll owe stuff to Stowe, and they'll be like, well, we didn't design it then. They won't do their own thing because it's their own thing,
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing I want to run by you is that little yellow notch at the bottom. Is it is it cut off by the screen, or is it actually like an arrow? What do you think it would point down a little bit further? And could the one that Aaron Harvey did just be speculation? Because I like just that little notch, but at the same time, I think it might follow the same angle as the cutout above it, and maybe go down a little bit further, which would totally give a whole new look to what we see there. So I don't even know if there's any other pictures of any of the front of the uniforms just from a distance even that might show that, but it's just an interesting thought, something I was considering earlier.
I know what you mean. I mean, that's the thing, we're sort of grasping at straws, but also we love to think about this stuff as much as we can, and this is a classic case of they really gave us quite a lot.
Yeah.
I like Aaron's just fine with the stop. It links in with certain shapes, but I also do like to do it pushing forward. I think having the pointy look is going to look a bit too aggressive. So I think it flat out works a little bit better in terms of it balances out the design.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I find very little questionable about this design. I mean, apart from it's ill-fitting and it's a bit too yellow, but ill-fitting is, well, Picard don't look that silly in it, and you colour grade. I mean, what's there to dislike about it, really? I mean, if you go to the chart, obviously, we've long since passed the Voyager variant. What, we're literally 30 years since. But as I said in a previous live, they had the wars, the deep dark wars, and this could be a nighttime of peace, and so they want to, after 30 years or 26 years of swapping uniforms, they say, hey, we had a nice peaceful uniform for 20 years. Let's design something that's a more futuristic version of that, and have some color back. So I'm totally fine with that. And it's still different enough. I mean, I always like the Voyager's probably my favorite of the uniforms, and certainly losing that nice inner bit loses some color. And oddly, the way the Voyager uniform comes down, a bit of give in the fabric, it feels smarter. It feels like more uniform. Whereas this dude is just like a crisp line. It's like it's not functional so much as aesthetic. Whereas the Voyager one, it's kind of like it feels more functional somehow.
Interesting.
I don't know. I think the Voyager one's more well thought out. Like, someone actually spent several days and weeks and months designing it, variants of it, and the Picard one, someone scribbled something, and they said, yeah, let's make 50. Not in a bad way necessarily, but...
That might be the case, but I also think that, as you said, spending that much time designing the Voyager one, there might have been some throwaway ones that they used that inspired the Picard one.
Yeah.
Because they always have unused concepts that they end up rehashing, right? So... Brandon Powell puts in $2. Keep up the good work. Thank you. We intend to. And your super chats help with that, guys. And Jeff Jacobs puts in $3 and says, "Sorry, I'm late. We'll pay again at 150 likes." Oh, we're already at unless we had 100. Hashtag like spike. So we got 336 people here. Everybody hit like. It's important.
It is. And speaking of important, here is the other view, where you see the uniforms from a different perspective, and you can see the notches exactly as obviously as it is. You can see the fact there is something underneath the comm badges delta. it looks more oval than not. And with the other guys walking, the shoulder pad color bits look to go further down. It feels more like a what do you call it? A football player in America, very very broad shoulder with it continuing, whereas the Voyager one feels it ends. It's a very neat little end. This one goes down much further, feels a lot more hard, like a hard angle. But there's it from a distance, which gives you a much more clean idea of how it'll look in motion.
Well, that blows away my idea of having the point there. So.
Yes, someone sent the image, so I was like, well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an issue with it. I don't think it looks cheap looking at all. Like we said, I mean, if it's not color graded, it's not, whatever. I don't think it looks like cheap material. They say that everybody's looks loose fitting, but from the other leaked photos of the set, things look fine to me. I don't know why people would complain about that, but it just seems like people want to complain about things, and when this is all you have, you're going to hear all kinds of complaints. And it's funny because when we get these first glances of things, even when we got first glances of Discovery, I remember speculating about them. To go back and watch them now would be like, oh my God, we didn't know what we were talking about. So we just got to let it happen. Let's get more footage, let more official things be released. And yeah, if this was something internal just to show, hey, this is kind of where, it could be that things will change as well. Somebody had mentioned earlier that the TIE fighter in the trailer for Rogue One wasn't trailer bait. It was actually because the ending was completely redone, which I buy that 100%. But trailers have been very deceptive as of late by CGIing in or out characters and things. So I don't think that this is the case here. But I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Like I said, it's a super internal document as well. So it was, literally just a tease. It's like, what can we show that's fun for got 6 seconds of spot. Let's just show something, and it might not even make the cut. But yeah, I mean, people want to complain. And obviously you mentioned Discovery, but our theories were wrong. But we always hope for the canon. We always hope beyond hope they'll connect and make sense, as we would always want Trek to do. We see this long faraway combat shot, and we look at the comm badge, and also we're thinking, fucking hope it's a all good things comm badge or something very close, because that's what it should be. There's no reason why it shouldn't be, and it sort of devalues a lot of the other stuff. Obviously, it's all alternate futures, but if it happens 8 times, 8 versions, then what happened in the timeline to change them using that comm badge? It's like it still happened 8 times or whatever. But unfortunately, it's not how these people tend to work these days. It's very much, let's just do our own thing. I mean, look at Last Jedi, look at a lot of these franchises where it's just a case of, I want to do this. Does it make sense? Well, I want to do it. So I'm paying you, shut up, do it. So while we have our hopes, the real practical realism, it isn't even going to necessarily come into it. So these uniforms, that's why when the thing was leaked, I was so thankful. At least they are the 3 main colors. At least they're maybe trying.
At least they weren't all blue with gold and silver and
all yellow with
copper striping. Yeah. Trent Collicott puts in $5 Canadian. Maybe he's a spy and stole the uniform. That explains the fit. It could be a cadet that wandered in there and had to grab it really quick to blend in and bumps into Picard and is like, oh, I mean, it's taken out of context. We don't know the situation. Maybe it's supposed to look ill-fitting because a lot of people are complaining, oh, it looks like a homemade one for a convention.
It does look like a fan film uniform. I will say that.
Yeah.
Or someone bought off the rack, they changed. It is weird how ill-fitting it is, unless they are just meant to be more just loose. Then you look at
maybe he hasn't hit the auto fit button like in Back to the Future yet. Yeah. He doesn't know it's there, and somebody hits it for him. Like Picard hits it on his sleeve, and it.
Yes, I mean, it is the future. It's $23.99. We do look at Picard, Janeway, Riker on the Picard, and all the lines are so crisp and neat, and then he looks very untidy. It's certainly not the best person they could have picked for the uniform for the moment, but the uniform itself, I think, is totally solid. I mean, you've got if you really take Countdown as canon, and I really don't want to, because I think they hurt a few things as well. Do you think then the evolution works from 73 to 87 to 97, which is all a pretty nice little leap between all three?
I don't know if it works. It's definitely a brand new take, like more stylized. Uh, but I'm not complaining about it. It's again just a color shift. You've moved the black up to the collar, you've moved the color to the shoulders, and then the gray is just now the uniform, um, or at least the top. I think the pants are still black in that one. But I like the look from the Countdown comics, to be honest. The thing I don't like is the Delta because it's backwards and there's nothing behind it, but that's whatever. It was kind of a throwaway, like couple panels of the Enterprise F, right? So
I mean, as we know, we've looked at several comics. One official Discovery comic showed the Discovery without a ring. Therefore confirming other canon. There's a Nyrix and a Valdor in the Discovery era, and it's like, no, there isn't. There's multiple problems in the comics that they just don't necessarily care as much. They're not as quality controls or anything in comic form is more random. I mean, there's several times when they literally steal fan art and just draw over it because they can't bother to make their own angle. It's like, here's the ship, or just really just awful measures. And they also steal other ships from other shows sometimes and throw them in the background because they can't think of anything. And so uniforms, again, if it's only going to be in 6 panels and there's like whatever, it could just be literally a steal from a Star Trek Online one, because who cares? That's why you shouldn't take it as canon, because the amount of time and effort. I mean, the USS Discovery took 1 year of design because it kept being changed and twopped and changed. 1 year for one ship. I think NX was like 3 months, Voyager was like a couple of months as well. And this uniform, this canon might have had maybe a day, maybe. I don't think it had that much thought in it. So best not necessarily include all that stuff properly, because you need to put thought in if you add it to the Star Trek universe.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll see much better fitting uniforms anyway. Axel Foley puts in €5. Thank you very much. Is the person in the top right of the leaked photo wearing a late gray DS9 uniform? No, I think it's the same style, just blue.
Yeah.
And there's 2 on the left as well, which are both blue as well.
Yeah.
So
it's just lighting. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Polish Gamer puts in £10.
Again, wow.
Thank you. I'd rather they look too loose than hurt cast members again, like in CNG Season 1 uniforms. Plus, I think surely the loose makes more sense for comfort and maneuverability. I just also don't dislike the look. I don't dislike it either. I actually like the high collar, and I like that the V, the black accent there, works really well. And again, it's one of those uniforms like with Voyager. You take off the outer one if you're getting too hot, and you got the undershirt that still has your rank pips. Well, in Voyager anyway, your rank pips on it. This one you could take off the outer one and still have the black, which might have the little delta on the shirt or something. Like who knows?
That was kind of Discovery, but I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, but it's something that's two layers is probably better. So.
And in terms of fitting well, I mean, definitely in this point in the timeline, all these clothes are being replicated to your exact size, so there's no reason they wouldn't fit perfectly with the exact amount of stretch. I mean, it's like there shouldn't be any overweight people in the future, because there's no reason to be overweight. You can't be a Starfleet. I mean, look at what you're doing. Look at the diet you have. Look at the health. I mean, there's no reason to.
Well, all your replicated food would have the exact amount of calories and stuff you need, and taste however you want. So,
and you're doing duties, and you're not. It's yeah.
But no. So I don't dislike the look either, and I've seen a lot of hatred towards it online, and it's kind of discouraging, but it's not surprising, unfortunately.
Well, question though, to you.
Am I back now?
Hello, Stuart.
Hi. What was I saying?
I don't know. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Well, that's not good. What was I saying? Oh my goodness.
Reset your video as well if you could.
Fine. There we go. Bing.
And Red 201 SS. Even today's military uniforms aren't super tight, so it makes sense a little looser. I mean, look at the other uniforms in this set. None of them are loose. So
yeah.
Modern military, yes, but not Starfleet for hundreds of years. So no. Maybe TWOC uniforms are a bit loose, but that's because everyone kept being fatter each movie, and they had to keep modifying them. And yes.
Hey now. People are overweight because of eating disorders stuff, though. Well, yes, but in the future that wouldn't be the case because your replicator would give you the food that the nutrients you need.
And if
you could probably set it. You could probably eat real food and get overweight still, but why would you want to?
And if you had an eating disorder, they'd just cure you of it because science and medicine. It's just biology. They can fix it all. I mean, it's like that's the thing. Most of the stuff's a choice. Bald does not affect service, but overweight does.
Yeah.
But I had a question for you though.
Oh yes.
Even though there is a good 26 years, would you have rather have seen just the Nemesis uniforms again, maybe with the new comm badge? Like, what were you hoping to have seen?
It's funny because that's what I visualized when I first heard this series was going to happen. I just visualized literally the Nemesis style uniforms with a different comm badge. I don't know. I think that would be too strange. I know that the Wrath of Khan uniforms did stick around for quite a while, with some slight variations on them, but I'm glad that they've come up with a new design. I never really thought about it, to be honest, because I just pictured them in the Nemesis uniforms when I was thinking about the series. But yeah, I have no issue with them. The way I don't know. I just don't understand the complaining and whining about this.
I do understand the simple argument of why are they just the Voyager ones again, because they've got color again. But I mean, look at the future uniform. It's one solid color. Well, isn't that just looking like TNG again? In a sense, it was a full color top and black trousers. Well, DS9 TNG was an almost full black. So, I mean, things go in peaks and troughs. Was it weird that TOS is very similar to TNG, just in a slightly different way? Is that weird they went back to full color after having whatever? I mean, it would be nice if there was an evolution, but how does Nemesis even make sense as an evolution? It doesn't. They just tried something, It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Why would they flip that and do that? No reason. Just it looks interesting. I don't know. Someone recolored it and it worked.
Yeah.
There's not much rocket science. That's why the TNG ones are more impressive, because they were actually a design.
Yeah.
You had to invent that from scratch, and everything else has been based off that as a sort of an evolution with all good things and such being at least a new design, if a bit of a simple, very simple. But I like the Voyager one, so I like the idea of these, and they do look different. I mean, they do look different. You can tell them apart instantly. You're not going to confuse the two, even at a distance. Like, has one got a collar? Yes. Has one got a collar? No. Great. There you go.
Yeah. As I said, the uniforms don't bug me as much. I'm concerned about the comm badge, how the comm badge is going to look, because as we kind of stated already, it has been that all good things won a few times in different futures.
Even with Geordie without the all good things uniform, so literally every single future, because they just had them in the budget. They already had them
exactly
in the prop department. That's why they're always the same ones.
Exactly. But because of the whole we want you to buy new merchandise, I can see it being different. And I don't like the idea of the oval being turned the way they did, the way that Aaron did for that. I don't like that. I think it looks soft and lazy. Like, good speculation on his part and good design ideas, but the delta is also not sharp. It's very it's more rounded, like the Discovery delta.
But again, you're commenting on obviously Aaron Harvey's concept.
Yes. But I'm just saying, that's the one thing that I'm more concerned about than the uniform itself, is the comm badge. I want to see what the comm badge looks like. I can understand them wanting to sell new and changing it, but the All Good Things one looks so good. It's so sharp and crisp,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a good design evolution.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different design that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
You know, most of the uniforms are always something else. This is a genuinely new design, and maybe the All Good Things. I mean, it even has the split of the Discovery. You know, if you need a split for
Yeah.
some silly reason, like maybe for the All Good Things, just to make it different, I would just fill in the silver, make it a bit more 3D, make it that bit more organically curvy, like just a little bit, rather than just be hard points, but have the backing be the same.
Yeah.
You know, then it's different but the same. You know.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, Vance 1982 puts in $5. So thank you,
Thank you.
Vance. Fashion is like a boomerang. Some things come back into fashion over decades, but still, I like the Picard ones over the Discovery ones. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Discovery ones just seem like a different branch of Starfleet. They have their own thing. So I'm glad it doesn't follow that. I was almost expecting something like that for Picard. Like, oh, good God, why'd they do that? But this one, you got to give it lots of credit for what they got right. I mean, the high color looks good. The colors are great. As you said, you still got the yellow, blue, and red, and even the pips. So they could have done a lot worse for sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's more respectful than it is Discovery of we redesign for the sake of it. But you've got
Yeah,
to imagine the art department must be like, yeah, we can't redesign everything again. We've got to at least try and keep it canon feeling, which is obviously what you should do anyway. You know, I mean,
mm,
maybe it would have been a smart idea for this uniform to have to link it in a one level to the other Nemesis uniform where it sort of came from. If you imagine the top is yellow up until the point, and then from the point to the bottom bit of the yellow is the same color as the Nemesis uniform. And then on that you've got rank pips that are maybe white or they're gold, I guess, but that would black and gold are more differentiated or the color. And you'd have the classic
mm.
color, the new color, the black. You would feel a bit more. Well, I was about to say, at least the fabric choice feels very plasticky and much more like leftover fabric from the the Discovery TOS uniforms. Because if you look at how it's much more plasticky and hard fabric. If you look at the Picard from Nemesis picture, his uniform, the texture of the fabric is glorious.
Yes, yeah,
And I've seen real ones and fan ones. I mean, it's got such. It's a really good quality costume, really good quality fabric, and it has lots of texture. All good things. Again, there's a texture to the fabric. It's a bit too thin for my liking, but it is a texture to it. And these ones,
yeah,
it's like a plasticky, very sterile sort of feel that the other uniforms just don't have.
yeah. Well, I think I kind of disagree with you there about the plasticky look. I think again, this isn't color corrected, it isn't whatever. It feels like more of the same kind of fabric as we got with the Voyager uniforms. A little bit thinner, but still a good texture. And yeah, the one of Picard and Nemesis it does look really good. It is a good texture, but again, big screen, you know, even though that shouldn't be a thing anymore now with high definition TV, you're still gonna have to, pull out all the stops for that. But I think it looks more like the Voyager kind of material, and it's a fine material. It's better than the one from All Good Things, in my opinion. The way that looks is just awful. It looks like pajamas. The All Good Things one really bugs me. But it's just my thought. Polish Gamer puts in £5 and says this could even really be test footage just to show execs what they're doing stuff, and they have been listening to backlash from Discovery. Yeah, that's one of the things that we kind of mentioned early on, that this could just be literally, early test footage, which was hobbled together and shown.
The problem with that though is that Patrick Stewart, obviously as a day rate, he's expensive,
Yeah, well,
and so you wouldn't
yeah.
use Patrick Stewart in test footage. It just wouldn't be economical. I mean, him to show up for a day might be like 5,000-10,000 for a day. So it doesn't quite make sense as test footage. more as maybe they're doing like the first 20 minutes to show the executives to see how it feels, see if to get more budget, to show this is how good it looks with the new art design, and then see, or I mean, remember this is meant to be released by the end of the year. Right at the end of this thing needs to be absolutely rushed into production and yeah.
I think it's going to be pushed back, though. Jamal says, we keep saying that it's from All Good Things with the pictures from Endgame. Yes, it is, but it's the exact same uniforms that they had in Endgame, or All Good Things, like the one Beverly was wearing. It's exactly like that. So.
And for clarity, it's because that's a clearer picture of the uniform.
Yes.
Yep. But it's the same uniform, and the 95 is All Good Things. I mean, that's the problem. We explain things at the start, but people aren't necessarily here for it. But but yes. And I like Michael Anderson, 2053. Think that year is kind of wrong on that Riker uniform from season 1, season 2, and he's got a licky face. Well, Michael Anderson, it's a reflection of the year the uniform came in, which is way before TNG, as is on Memory Alpha. There's a picture of a graphic. So, yes, I know. But again, said that at the start. So.
Yeah, but thank you for catching that.
Yes.
Ian Smith puts in $9.99, so thank you. The turned oval reminds me of the Bajoran militia badges in DS9. Oh, that's why I hate it. Yes, I think you're right. Visually, it just doesn't work for me. The delta in the graphic looks like the delta in the Picard logo. My guess is All Good Things splits with a delta like the Picard logo. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I really need to see the badge.
Yeah, it's more iconic in some respects than the uniform.
Absolutely.
There's so many of them, but they all have the delta. They all have something there, and I mean, they're just normally really good designs. I mean, TNG one's iconic. I like the Voyager one more personally. But that's just me. I think it looks more functional, whatever that means. But I mean, I'm fine with having a new comm badge, but as I said before to you, Stuart, it's not so much. I don't need to redesign it. This is the future. This is now the one time you are allowed to redesign. Total immunity, great. But why not give us, one, like the first episode, they're wearing the All Good Things uniforms and badges, and then part of the story is the new uniforms. And so you get to sell now really new, new QMX All Good Thing, but now it's Picard show episode 1 uniforms, and then you get another uniform. Everyone wins. Obviously, you've got to make those badges and those things. But, I mean, even if they... went to a fan maker and said, "Can you make us 10 badges for $5 and they'll be on Picard?" It's like, yes, sir. Fans, if you have no money, I mean, Stargate Origins, the web series that MGM did, was pinching pennies, and they asked around, and they managed to get the original DHD, which is the dial home device, the big thing that you can dial, from the guy that bought it from the show. So they used the original one, they paid for transport, and then paid to give him back, although they repainted it without asking him and damaged it in transport, so the guy kind of screwed him over a little bit because it was both damaged and completely repainted to look wrong, and so they actually ruined his canon version with a worse canon for his kindness. And same thing, the recent Mandalorian, which I watched a panel at Star Wars Celebration, and they did an open casting call because they didn't have stormtroopers, and they said the 501st, who people know are a very, very excellent legion of stormtroopers. They are accuracy above all else, and I think about 30 people came to that casting, and then they said, "Hey, I'm Jon Favreau. You're actually on the Mandalorian." They're like, "What?" "Yeah, you're actually in the film now." So now they all own screen-used costumes. They're just as good, it's somewhat better than even that they were making. And that was they didn't have to pay. Well, might have paid them maybe a day rate, but they didn't have to pay to build the costumes because fans can do good things. So if they really had to, do a scene in All Good Things, they could get fans to if they really had no money,
The thing is, I don't think the CBS of today would do that. They wouldn't lower themselves to ask for help from the fans because they just seem to think they're high and mighty and just spit on us. But whatever. 1 second, I gotta leave for just 10 seconds.
Oh, 10 seconds of 10 seconds of me in control. Moo ha 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 ha. So yeah, guys, hiya. No, I'm like I said, I'm happy with the uniform. I think on Picard it'll look better. I think it'll properly done to a person, it'll look better. And it doesn't necessarily fit the evolution, but if you compared TNG to First Contact, you wouldn't necessarily. There's no direct evolution beyond the fact there's a split on the shoulders. So I'm all fine with it, and there's still a 30-year gap. I mean, 30 is a long time. 30 is a long time, especially since they changed uniforms what, 3 times in,
Yeah.
7 years. So.
Yeah, and yeah, I have no problem with the way they change uniforms, really. But anyway, people seem to complain. Jeff Jacobs puts in $3, 150 likes. Woo! We'll go again at 200. Make me pay hashtag uni like Spike. Don't know what that means. Oh, uniform like Spike. Should have put uniform. Yes, everyone be the same, be uniform, and hit like.
That is, yeah.
Join the like Spike cult here on Trekyards.
Question.
Yes. Answer.
Follow
up. What is this, word association?
Yes. Who wore it better, do you think? And also the lag will carry over in a second. The TNG cadet uniform, which in itself, obviously they must have based the Voyager one off because it's the same uniform, just with that's where they saw it first. I guess they liked it and moved on with it. Or this new one, because the fact that the collar, the colour, which looks, better, do you think?
The TNG one for sure. Just because I like they have like a black stripe along the collar, if I remember correctly, and I think that looks a lot sharper. If they had something like that on this yellow collar, that would look great. But yeah, I like the TNG versions better.
Well, also, it's kind of strange that I'm focusing on this lady's one, but her uniform is very crisp, which is looks better than his, the way it's fitted, and she only had like 7 lines in the entire episode. It goes right up into her neck and then up for a very crisp collar. This guy, though, it's a very gradual curve, which doesn't look as smart. It looks more comfortable, but less smart.
Yeah. Well, that goes to the complaint that it looks like it doesn't fit him. It looks like it's too big on him. Like it's made for somebody with broader shoulders, and because that would fix that issue, right? So it's almost like the costume wasn't made for him. Which, if that's the case, and this was just one that didn't fit well, why would you include this in your footage, showing people to look how good we're doing?
I mean, it's a cutaway. Just if you need to film it again, just put them on green screen, get a random other person to film it. If you really needed this thing.
Yeah.
Irek the Bat says it's the DS9 uniform, not the Voyager. True. Even though it's designed for First Contact, but I call it Voyager uniform because Voyager used it for all 7 years. DS9 used it for 3 or 2.5. So you consider the first DS9 be... I mean, DS9 used all 3 uniforms. So which one's the DS9 uniform? Well, I think it's the one used most, the First Contact ones. But you call it First Contact because that's the one they made the most splash. I mean,
Yeah. I agree with Michael Kirst in the chat there. He says the TNG cadet is very clean, and I agree. I think that black stripe along the top of the collar is just like the icing on the cake. Even the TNG, even the standard TNG ones, like for most of the run, had the colored piping along the top of the collar. It's so subtle, but it's such a great accent. It really helps the uniform.
Yes,
so.
And I just want to bring up another uniform, which I don't think is as good a uniform. It's the cadet uniform seen by Red Squad, and also just the DS9 era of cadet. And it's Nog has a version, and Red Squad has a different one. But it's for me, a much more softer uniform that looks like they're wearing felt. Again, the lag. But just want to throw out there are less good uniforms out there of the era.
Oh yes.
And
I'm still waiting on the leg. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know, the gray is not as big a contrast as the black. I prefer the black cadet TNG ones from. But what was I looking up there? The motion picture era cadet uniforms were fantastic.
So which era?
The motion picture era.
Yes, the altered versions of the custom, I should say. But yes, let me find those actually.
Yeah, like the ones from Starfleet Academy, the game and stuff. Those are sharp looking uniforms. Um, just looking them up here myself.
And a little comment that I want to address briefly, if I may. Dan23. I think Patrick Stewart in Generations was wearing Captain Sisko's uniform from actual actor. No, that was William T. Frakes. That's a Reddit media joke. Was Jonathan Frakes, William T. Riker. He was wearing Avery Brooks. Patrick, obviously, he was the lead. He got a new costume. He always got new ones. But if you look carefully, William Riker has rolled up sleeves, literally has folded over sleeves for the entire movie, which is dumb. But I mean, whatever. Avery's quite a bit.
It looked comfortable and casual, and the ship was hot. Maybe, who knows?
Yep.
Nog's uniform was a custom job from Garrick. No, I don't think so.
Funny though.
Yeah.
Let me just find the TMP ones.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so we've established these aren't Starfleet Academy uniforms because he is of the rank of ensign. So I don't know. I do see the loose fitting nature of it. I don't know why that's the one thing everybody's latching onto, because people want to hate this. They want to hate it because they're mad at CBS, and people are just complaining. And I see it so many times on Facebook with this picture. It's like, ugh, it's discouraging. It really is.
And that people just say it's just Voyager again. It's like it's not just Voyager again.
Well, that's why these videos that we do, these pictures that you come up with that compare everything, really help with that. I mean, we did that with Discovery, talking about the corridors and how everything. We did multiple ones of them with the Klingons and stuff as well. Not lives, mind you. These are just edited videos that you can go back and look at. But it's the same thing. It shows the progression, and then all of a sudden Discovery happens, and it's very disjointing because it doesn't match anything really.
Which to say is fine in the sense that there isn't necessarily a linear line. I mean, when we look at a timeline from start, we know what these future uniforms look like. I mean, if a designer's like, I just want to change the look, and you're like, okay. I mean, that's fine, but we know where the uniform was going with Discovery, and it's like it doesn't connect at all, even though it does connect to Enterprise. But and here is the cadet uniform from the movies, and yeah, it's a same fabric as Wrath of Khan, although in itself starts to connect to the TNG Picard show, because look, you've got the ensign rank on one side, the badge on the other, the top bit of thing, and you got a black collar. I mean, this connects quite well to Picard. I'm semi-joking, obviously, but.
Oh yes, no, I think they're sharp looking. I don't know what to say about the uniforms, because the uniforms, even on the Trekyards Facebook page, is it technology? Should it be something that we're allowed to talk about on the Trekyards page? Sometimes we get like uniforms want to go through because it is part of the.
Well, it depends on the post as well. I mean, if it's just what do you think of the TNG uniform? It's like, well, no, that's not appropriate. But if it's really interesting, or like Aaron's picture, it's like, that's really really good picture, really interesting.
Yeah.
There's always exceptions depending on.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say, really. It's just, it could have been worse. That's
the thing. Discovery was worse. And this is better. Some other sad things we've seen, but I mean, that's the thing. This one guy's ill-fitting, but the rest of the cast shouldn't be.
Hopefully.
And he might literally just be the greeter, and then he's never in it again. That might be one moment they have to use one moment. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like Picard's won't be ill-fitting.
Maybe Picard just walked into Walmart, and this is the Walmart greeter.
Space Walmart, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It seems like such an if it is in fact this is the only ill-fitting uniform, it's just, why would you use that? Why would you use that scene? Especially for something that's going to be is going to get blasted everywhere if it leaks, and it's going to blow up. It's like CBS doesn't know what they're doing half the time. I hate to say that, but it seems to be the way that things are going.
But like we said, for me, it's a decent indication of at least a trying to give a damn art design.
Yes.
It's more colourful than I mean having just the black and the yellow contrast has a more alive feel than even All Good Things, which kind of the two colours are so thick that they don't quite blend. Whereas just having the shoulder, you kind of have the distinction factor, just boom, colour. Whereas those kind of, blend in too much. I prefer more colour than the First Contact ones. But yeah, I mean, it's weird to think people... I don't think it's much people are hating on the Picard show since we know nothing. We don't... This isn't even seeing anything. It's 3 behind-the-scenes pictures of just people standing around in one clip that is presumably, very, very, very ultra-mega early. It's more just people are responding to the imagery, like the Klingons. People didn't hate Discovery because of the Klingons, the first teaser. They said, what ludicrous garbage is this? Oh, wait. Oh, no, please. Let it end. And they started to be fixed it. So even with problems, Picard season 2, they might be able to fix. If they go so far on a limb.
Well, someone in the chat just said it could be possible we're not even going to see Picard in a Starfleet uniform in this series. Wouldn't that be funny if it's like Smallville, where it's all leading up to him being in a uniform for the very last scene? He's back. Last scene of the series, and then.
I mean.
Miguel Morita puts in $10. Thank you very much, Miguel. Once again, thank you guys for keeping your reviews objective and open-minded. It's far too easy to be cynical about every little thing. You just summed up the internet these days.
Although that said, I mean, you watch a high-quality piece like Endgame, and it's pretty much universally positive. So I don't think necessarily that, and what other films recently, but if a film is just good, it gets praise. Same with Infinity War. There wasn't lots of cynical people hating on it. It was pretty much universally loved. So I don't... the internet is just responding. We're getting a lot of negative stuff. I mean, Last Jedi, even some Game of Thrones stuff, it's like, you're giving us less good stuff. Yeah. I mean, what do you expect? You're going to get responding, especially since we're used to... I mean, the early 2000s were a great time for TV. And we had, BSG and some Stargate, and we had Game of Thrones. Some really good stuff came out. And so when stuff that isn't as good comes out, and you're wondering, well, why is that being made? So the good stuff gets called out. I mean, Stranger Things. I mean, when they were coming out, everyone's like, "This is the best thing ever," and it's just like, yes, I mean, universal praise. What's the other one? That's the changes every season, or every episode, the anthology, Black Mirror. Again, people just love Black Mirror. Like, there's no negativity there at all. So I don't think it's just because of it. It's like, you give us less quality stuff, we're going to notice it. But in the age where everyone's interconnected, you hear that. But also, high quality stuff gets universal praise. So, like, even the plot holes in Endgame, people are actually just saying, it's a great film. It's fine.
That's very true, actually. That's very true.
If a film earns it, then, there's some other films come out in 2019 that have sort of...
while you're doing that, I'm going to read the last super chat. Ian Smith puts in $4.99. Thank you very much, Ian. Favorite uniform of all is Scotty from TNG. Functional and comfy. Well, TNG in the movies, he wore that a few times. But yeah,
that was his custom standard one. Yeah,
it's kind of like his chief of engineering garb. Captain Spire puts in $5. Thank you very much. Ooh, dun 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 dun. Is it risky to call this the Picard series, considering the age of Patrick and that the series will hinge on him? I mean, it's not like he's in ill health or anything. Sure, he's old, but he's a spry old guy. So I don't know. I think it's fine. It's interesting that it is called Picard, just because it's kind of an odd title for a Star Trek series. Is it going to... It's obviously going to... I don't know if it's more of a name draw for people, or if it's... I know it's going to be Picard-centric, obviously, but do we really... I don't know why they chose that. It could just be because they're banking on the name.
Or
But
as you theorized previously, it could be about his son, and so the Picard name is what it's about, because it is not a good name to call it about. You know, it's like it's calling Star Trek Jean-Luc Picard. It's like, oh. Star
yeah,
Trek Riker. It's like, no, it doesn't work. Star Trek Q. It's like, even that, no. But if it's the Picard name, there's more interesting stuff there for sure. And just to, he's I think it's 78 is what I googled a second ago. My granddad's older than him, and he's doing cruises and going around the world. He's went to somewhere in Spain for a week, going around places.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and again, in Star Trek years, even if he is 90, in Star Trek terms, that's only like 50.
Yeah.
Like, he's not retired. He shouldn't be retired. If he maybe chose to be retired, but that's early. Again, look at McCoy, 136, and he was still an active admiral. Probably
137.
Probably not, chief of medical at Starfleet, but still, still doing his thing.
Yeah.
So I hate the argument because, and, Patrick's not, yes, Patrick has got not the best eyesight ever, but that's just age. And yes, he is dizzy when walking, but he's a very strong man that takes it,
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him when it was actually worse, because when I saw him, that was a new thing. He was hoping it would go away, and the doctor said it wasn't going to go away properly. So he had to live with it. But you deal with it. You take it gently and you do some things. He's never going to be in a dirt bike shooting things.
Yeah.
But isn't Picard best in Measure of a Man? Isn't he best in all the episodes? I mean, even in A Pale Moonlight, Sisko's not running around shooting guns.
Or Inner Light.
Or Inner Light. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you. So it's best Picard is actually just talking, clever, smart Picard, and that's just script at that point. So you need script writers.
Yeah. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how this series plays out for sure. Uh-huh. I'm more concerned now, says Captain Spire. Oh no. I think the negativity would be, in my case at least, it feels like they did not have a great story to tell and came up with it in order to have Picard show up.
Yeah. I mean, that's. Yeah, but if you want to sell a streaming service, you could have a draw.
Could be that it's called Picard because they dedicate a ship, name it Picard for some reason.
Although then you'd assume this guy would know him. The name of a ship after you.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't quite connect.
Well, okay. Fine, be that way. Could just be he failed history or something.
Yeah.
Recent history.
He should be a captain by now based on his age, but he keeps being pulled back. He's still an ensign after 25 years.
Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of out of things to say about the uniform, to be honest. Which I'm glad Miguel Morita put in $10 for a super chat. Thank you. What of his Irumodic syndrome? It could possibly be a thing. He could maybe have found a cure by then in this timeline, because All Good Things was just a speculative future. So who knows? I hope it'll be a thing. Actually, that'd be kind of neat. Have him deal with that.
Well, they do specifically say that if they'd caught it earlier, they could have treated him, and they didn't know until it was too late. So
he'd be like, "Hey, you might want to screen me for that."
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure that was pretty much how that ended. So it shouldn't be an issue at all. And it would be weird because you don't. I mean, unlike Luke, I'm not gonna spoil it, but you don't want a shitty end. And Picard needs to just retire with a family. Don't subvert expectations. Don't kill him for the sake of it. Don't make a bridge fall on him. Don't have a potted plant fall on him. Don't have a fish fall on him and kill him. Stuff that Picard. Have him just have a family. Be proud of his son. Rescue his son. Retire with his wife. And then come back for a couple of cameos in Picard season 2 and 3 after following the son of Picard or daughter. I mean, that'd be fun. I'd like to see Picard deal with the daughter more than a son. Because that dynamic I think would be really interesting. Like, how would he care for her differently? Especially as Data was sort of his son, Whereas you never really got the sense that Troy was his daughter, you know, in terms of like who he mentored, who he was kind of father to. Was everybody a father to Troy?
Or any female, like, because there's that kid that came aboard that screamed and yelled, and
Yeah,
he was kind
exactly.
of a father figure to him. So we have seen that a few times in that regard. You're right.
Yeah. So I just, and it's a nice way of whatevering. Daddy Picard.
Yeah. Well, Jill Wright puts in $2 and says, "Can we talk about the writers? Chabon won a Pulitzer. Chabon? I don't know. I haven't looked into who's writing for it, so I think Samuel's doing that right now because he's typing.
Yes.
But yeah, we're hoping that the writing is good, because Discovery's been not good.
It's funny because Discovery season 2 is much better written in terms of the individual lines, but the plot is still pretty bad, and the end, you know, the important stuff, like season 1 they failed in both the story and the individual lines. They succeeded in the individual lines but failed in the plot. But you need both to work, and so writing is both. You need a good story, and then you need good writing of people as well.
Mm.
I don't know. It's tricky. But yes, this chap has a lot of credits. But then again, the problem with that is that if they're not allowed to write proper canon or making sense, think about the woman that worked on the Voyager novels, meant to be one of the best Voyager novels ever, and yet she was on the writing team of Discovery and let Discovery season 1 happen, despite knowing very well cloaks don't exist yet and all these things. Like she had to bite her tongue and be told to shut up, I'm sure, because she kept mentioning things that didn't make sense and just like, no, we have to do this. So if the heads up want something, doesn't matter if you've got a quality writer, it's still a job, you know. It's weird. Currently, there's all this Brexit stuff, which is should have already finished, and we just had another big name resign, and it's one of those things that if you would think that a writer like the Voyager person would say, wow, all this stuff is just so breaking in the universe, and wow, this is not at all what I signed on for, would just quit. But you still want the job, you still want to try and make some impact. Whereas in politics, all of our MPs that are going against Brexit and don't want the crappy government's decisions, they're actually resigning. They're actually putting their paycheck where their mouth is and saying, I don't believe in this, I'm walking away. But you don't tend to see that as much.
Yeah. Yeah, their hands are tied based on the producers and kind of the design by committee that we've seen all throughout Discovery's creation. Unfortunately, the ship was pretty nice initially when John had designed it, and he kept taking it to the meetings, and they kept literally a table full of producers and execs being like, all right, change this. So he had notes, he had to modify it, and eventually we got the Discovery we got, which doesn't fit the timeline.
And it's just flawed design-wise in several major ways.
Doesn't fit the era, and that's designed by committee. There's too many cooks in the kitchen, as it were, and they all want to have their mark on Star Trek.
Simple example, why is it copper? Because Brian Fuller said make it copper. No canon reason, no logic reason, just he wanted it copper. That's it. No other reason.
Why is the registry 1031? Because Brian Fuller is a fan of Halloween. So that's why the registry that's the only reason.
Despite not making sense in the era either. Why then the cells too long? I'm sure it's because someone said I want them long. Just continuous flaws. Let the designer design. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I want the cells to look like chopsticks.
So that's the thing. We've been burned with Discovery and the lack of care and attention, at least with canon. I mean, you look at the details on the Klingon Torchbearer armor, and it's gorgeous. The artistry is there once you pull it away from the actual Trek. They're trying their best with what they can do, and it just makes you sad. Imagine if they were allowed to actually make a full Star Trek show with the budget, with design. I mean, can you imagine if literally Neville Page is a talented guy clearly in the art department. Imagine if they'd said, right, take the TNG armor, right? And I've seen that in person. It's actually just clever plasticky fabricy stuff. Like, it's not armor. And they say, right, make this, but out of actual metal and fiberglass, and make it more armory. Like, give it details as fuck. Up-res it to 8K in terms of like the details. and that'd be glorious. And then also make 9 variants where the shoulder bit's the same, but like different spike configurations, different color, different stripes, different, but keep the same base feel, would look gorgeous. Be really interesting, and there's the detail. And instead they say make a completely impractical, completely daft armor set that looks silly, that isn't functional, is dangerous, doesn't fit Klingons. And that's because they were told to. It's a shame. So imagine if you had a real. So I'm kind of hoping that they've learned the lessons of Discovery, which is don't screw with fans, and besides the Starfleet emblem being a broken Delta again. So far, yay. This uniform is a solid yay for me.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. They giveth and they taketh away.
Yeah. Well, and even small little things I think would have improved it, like having a black stripe along the very lower edge of the yellow would have sharpened it right up, or a black stripe along the collar, like we talked about. Simple, small little things, but I don't know. They just chose not to.
An odd comment, from Dan23. Johnny was originally made the USS Kelvin look more like it was from the TOS TV show and original concept art. Well, John didn't design the Kelvin, so he did not.
Yes.
Sorry.
Fleet Paw Swiftback puts in $14.99. Thank you very much.
Wow. Crazy, man.
Sorry for only super chatting and running, but was stuck in traffic for half an hour for 5 accidents. Dropped a like and will rewatch when I get home. Live long and prosper, Captain and Commander. Well, thank you very much. Live long and prosper yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And John Puryear puts in $1 without a comment, but thank you very much for the dollar. It's very much appreciated. Yeah. So, in summary, I am not opposed to this new uniform. I think it's actually better than they could have done, and looking forward to seeing more that might fit a bit better. And of course the badge. I'm very concerned about the comm badge, how that's going to officially look. I love Aaron's concepts, but they're not really what I would like to see personally. So I can't wait for that. But I think the uniform looks good. It looks sharp, as long as they color grade it maybe and have ones that fit properly. It's kind of my wrap up.
Yeah. I mean, as always, I'm excited. They know they can make or break All Access, the Trek brand with this. If they knock it out of the park, we have. It's funny. They have lowered expectations with Discovery. So if they, they could easily knock it out of the park with this one, and that'd be great.
Yeah. Michael Callang puts in $4.49 Australian. Thank you. Trekyards for breakfast again here in Australia. Smiley face. Trekyards and breakfast.
That's so weird because we're really shifting our perspectives. Because for me it's 11:23. For you it's like 6. You haven't had dinner yet. I'm close to going to bed and you're waking up. That's crazy, Michael. Love it.
Yeah. And what constitutes breakfast in Australia? Yes. I'd like to know.
Let's have a conversation. What are you eating? And what are you drinking? Michael, tell us. Do you have orange juice for breakfast? Is it? Do you have what do you have for breakfast? If you didn't know, if the non-coffee, what's the non-coffee breakfast drink you have?
Orange juice generally, or chocolate milk. Chocolate milk is good for breakfast as well.
Is that
fresh? Or water?
Is that fresh with milk, or is that with a packet, or also chocolate milk of choice?
I prefer Seal Test chocolate milk over Beatrice. We've got 2 different brands here. Beatrice is not as good, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, Good Tea, Nice House puts in $10 Canadian.
The best
so thank
house.
you very much.
The best house.
And the best currency, Canadian. Just saying. I really enjoyed your breakdowns of Enterprise Bridge from Discovery.
Oh, thank you.
Have you guys done a detailed breakdown of other bridges from Enterprise, the movies, TNG era ships? Not specifically, no.
No.
It's something we do need. We've done a few videos on our favorite bridges, and we talk about them a little bit in that with our top 10, but nothing really in depth and detailed. There could be future lives.
That's interesting. If you
talking about specific bridges, yeah. I'm sure they would. That's what Trekyards is. Those kind of discussions. So, but yeah, thank you for the suggestion. We will take it under advisement. In the meantime, just type in Trekyards on YouTube and then Bridge bridges. You'll find some videos that we have that refer to them. So, and then Jeff Jacobs puts in $3. Yay, 200 likes. We can make 250. I will go again. Make me pay. Damn, Jeff, you are a trooper. Every live he's turning out and putting his money where the likes are.
Nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, help if you guys want to like, please do click the like button. We've got 331 people, which is brilliant. Great community, about 250 yesterday at our best, 330 today. Guys, please join tomorrow for our next TNG. We're going right back to the beginning. We had a really fun, about all good things there, Farpoint Station, interesting episode, double bill. What are we looking at tomorrow, Stuart?
Tomorrow we're going to be looking at episode 3 of season 1, The Naked Now.
So naked people all around. So if you want to see naked people, come and watch Trekyards tomorrow.
We might even do the podcast or the live naked. We don't know yet. Because it'll be naked and it'll be now because it'll be live.
Yes, I mean I'm not wearing socks.
And no one,
my feet are naked. I'm not wearing socks.
No one will show up for that if we do that. But, oh my God.
I'm excited for that. I really enjoyed our Farpoint, and hopefully you guys will keep joining in. We do a lot of TNG stuff, and there's a lot of Trek to look at. I think we do bring a new perspective, and you notice things I didn't notice, and I notice things you don't notice, and it's really a fun thing to do. Yeah,
the drunk episode says to Scar, we still got to do that. We still got to get like plastered and do a live. Where you guys make us take the shots. Whatever your super chats are, will dictate what we drink. That would be a good idea.
It's a mistake waiting to happen, but just a great mistake waiting to happen.
Exactly. It'll be gold regardless of what happens.
Yep.
What was I going to say? I had something I wanted to talk about. Oh, yes. If you can't help us via Super Chats or our Patreon or whatever, one of the best ways, if you enjoyed this, like we said, we have 330 people here. If you enjoyed it, please share the video around. Even though it is a live video, it's a good discussion and good graphics from Samuel as well. So it's good for fans that might not know about Trekyards to see it. So the best thing to do is share it around. And yeah, it's live now, but it's worth watching when it's posted on YouTube. So helping us by sharing is a fantastic way to help.
And we kind of love the fact that this it's reactionary, but we're trying to have some graphics as well. It will be recorded forever. Our first thoughts. I did actually rewatch some of our Discovery reviews of season 1 as we were doing after we'd filmed our second reviews, and it was really interesting to hear our very hopeful perspectives. And so it'll be interesting to see in 2 years when Picard is in its second season and it's really awesome and all that stuff, and then look back and be like, we thought all that stuff really interesting. We were so maybe right, maybe wrong. We don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, I like I said, I'm out of stuff to talk about with the uniforms, so it's kind of like the end of the discussion, I think.
Yes.
Unless you guys have any questions or comments you'd like to super chat in with, that'd be great. Don't mind hanging out for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
but
it's now up to you guys. If you want us to talk, then ask us questions and we'll talk to you. If not, we'll end a little bit early. And
we'll just sit here quietly and awkwardly until we super chat. So.
Yes. Yeah.
No. What? Sorry. I was waiting for a super chat. Oh.
But no, yeah, ask us questions, guys. We're here for a few minutes to talk.
Yeah. And congrats to Aaron Harvey for his great great visual of the proposed uniform and comm badges, and to Trek Movie for
getting him to do it.
I guess. Yeah, requesting it and for him allowing us to show it.
Well, I'm pretty sure Aaron would just offer up his services. I mean, he did it for Discovery again. We looked at that image on a video when we were in Ticonderoga for our last trip.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's right.
That was literally a thing we did. I remember you were like, I hadn't seen that before, and I was like, Stuart, new graphics come out in the hotel room. I was like, look at this, Stuart, and you're like, what? Send me it. And I sent it to you, and you're like,
and we thought it was official, and it's like, oh wait a minute, it's not. Oh.
I think actually during the video we both look at the graphic when we see the thing that says it's not official, and it's like, well, we tried. 'Cause it looks so good. He's got a very good style. Because not just about the
Yes.
artistry. If you recall, Aaron also did a poster where the Discovery meets up with the NXO something. And it was such a clever, fun poster. It's like, oh, that's gotta be real? No, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice.
AC Castillo says, Captain, were you really drunk when hanging out with Cliff? The first live we did, yes. The second one, not so much. Near the end, I was getting there, but no, not really. Lizzie Smith puts in £1.99. Haha, late as always. Thanks for the content. Well, thank you for showing up, regardless whether you're late or not. You should go back and rewatch, though, because we said a lot of really cool stuff at the beginning, because we were smart once. But now we're tired.
I'll tell you what, I might as well, since we've got a good audience here, I might as well announce something. Yeah, let me just work out the OBS while Stuart is flabbergasted by the reveal that I'm going to reveal. And he has to keep doing that until I reveal it. So let's see.
Well, do I know what it is?
I mean, you do.
Okay. It's something you let me in on. Yay! You let me in on something.
But
Generally, he surprises me all the time.
I like to keep you on your toes.
No one special says, Commander, how much will it take to get your shirt off on the next live?
$50.
$50. There you go. We'll do it now for $50.
Maybe. Don't know. I mean, that's quite a lot. You know, we don't get paid much, so that's actually a lot for us.
It is, yeah.
So you dignity is great and all, but also rent and food is great.
If you want, exactly. Dignities, I lost my dignity long ago, so I'll accept $100 right now to keep my shirt on, because otherwise it's coming off.
Wow.
There we go.
And so therefore, anyone who does not donate is trying to get your. Yes.
Exactly, they all want to see it. Good tea, nice house puts in $5 Canadian.
Thank you.
How do you feel of the possibility of not having a Federation starship in the Picard show? I mean, as the main ship, never really considered it. I know we'll see some starships, so, but
No, it'll be Federation for sure. It'll be Federation for sure.
Well, I think he's saying that Picard might not be in Starfleet or on a ship. He might be following his adventures.
I would doubt both of that. But yes, so here is the FedCon banner, which is a German event in Bonn. You can see the special guests they have going are Ethan Peck, a la Spock. They have lots of Expanse guests, so I don't know. They have Tyler, they have Dr. Kolber, they have Lamar, they have Pike, they have Kevin Sorbo, they have Bruce Boxleitner. They have lots of great things. They even have Anthony Davies, which is pretty awesome. And not just that, Stuart. They have someone even more interesting.
Is it you?
I don't know. Wait and see. It's very slow to load. The thrilling content. Oh, look, it's me!
Look, it's him. Oh, what a shock.
There I am on the FedCon panel. Die VFX bei B5 und Stutrek by D. I don't know, I can't never pronounce his second name. And Mia Scockings, VFX of Babylon 5 and Star Trek. I'm going to be at FedCon. There, live. That's quite a cool graphic, really. So, I'm going to be on stage with these guys for the opening and closing ceremony at FedCon.
And when is that?
It's the 7th of June to the 10th of June, which is my birthday, the 7th of June. So I'll be on stage being announced in front of hundreds of Germans with some celebrities on my birthday. And I'm sure I'll get an awesome sort of selfie of the whole thing. And we'll be doing a lecture on the Sunday, but you can find the program up now. As it says, it's a lecture about VFX, Babylon 5 and Star Trek. My co-host David is going to do Babylon 5 stuff. I'm going to do more Star Trek stuff. We're going to cover both Voyager, Enterprise, show some behind the scenes stuff, talk about some Easter eggs, and show some never before seen stuff that I've managed to sort of recreate for you guys. Well, obviously if you're there, I mean, for you guys that fly to Germany to meet me. So if anyone here is going to FedCon this year, I'll be there and I'll be walking around the floor all 3 days, 4 days, I guess. And do join in the panel. Very excited. I don't really like public speaking, and this is going to be quite a lot of people watching me. But I'm nervous until the point of actually doing it, and I'm fine. But until doing it.
That being said, I was at Starfest in Denver, and June 1st to May 31st to the 3rd, I will be at Wonderfest in Louisville, Kentucky.
Do you have a panel
or anything? No.
Okay.
Had a panel at Starfest, but not at Wonderfest. But there you go.
Cool.
So you can go meet him in Germany, meet me in Louisville, Kentucky, if you guys care. If you don't, that's fine too. But there might be other opportunities later to meet us. So.
And for those watching after the fact, anyone that wants to talk to me at any point, unless I'm peeing, please do say hi. I might look like I'm busy or wandering around, but do stop me and say hi if you would like to. And I'll try and speak. I don't know if I can interview anyone. I am there as part of the event itself, but I haven't organised press credentials because I have a lot of other projects going on right now. But it'd be nice to think we can interview some people. I'm pretty sure. I haven't really seen many interviews with Ethan or Shazad, so I don't know if they're allowed to do press interviews about Discovery. I get a feeling they probably aren't, unless it's like, here CBS, you've come to our set and we'll here massive news company, and you can
has to be CBS approved questions.
Yeah, so I feel like that's probably going to be a rule. But I'll get to speak to them. I mean, I got on really well with Shard Latif when I met him in Destination Birmingham. He'd heard the name Trekyards, which was great, and we got a good connection. I called out all the D7 stuff, and he gave me eyes that confirmed it. I said that live. Same with Mary Lashif, who again, I was saying things ended up being true, and since she only had 3 episodes, everything I said was her plot. She had nothing else to do that season, and I called it all. So, and I'm excited to talk to Ethan Peck. I was a fan of his work before Star Trek, and they unfortunately had to cancel the chap that played Gordon because he got married yesterday or the day before. I guess he's on his honeymoon still. But they do have Lamar, so I'll get to say hey to Lamar and hopefully get a few words.
Hey, Lamar, get some lines. And it's a shame Scott Grimes got canceled for yours as well. He also got canceled for Starfest when I was there just at the beginning of the month. So, but that's okay. That is all right. We won't be EU citizens by then, Sam. So lots of luck at the airport.
I mean, yes, we will, but okay.
I think he was being facetious because he got a winky face.
Ah, right.
Just being...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sam was going to suit up. I'm going to wear my classic waistcoat look to be smart. No, excited.
And so go see him in Germany. Charles puts in $5. Thank you very much, Charles. For all those who don't like the uniform, the more important question is, does it feel like Start Trek? Would you rather have disco type ones? Not me. Yeah, that's kind of our general consensus as well. Could have been worse, as we said, and we're actually kind of impressed with the way it did end up, because it could have looked very similar to Discovery style. And so, yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it's better than Discovery. It's not a high bar. But, yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hope you know German, says John Nicole. Well, no, since all the actors are American, every single panel's in English. Otherwise, everyone's out of
They'll have a translator probably for any questions from the audience.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They will. Although we've got a very packed panel, so I don't know if we're going to actually have any time for Q&A, because it's a very, very... We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We've easily got an hour and something, and we've only got 60 minutes.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, guys, I think we will call it. Yeah, I know, Charles. I know it was a typo. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I assumed you didn't want to call it Star Trek, but that's okay.
But yeah, I guess that's it. We're at the time. Thank you so much, everyone, for everything. Really, I mean, some of you gave so much. Fleet Force with Back gave 15, and others. I mean, yeah, every 10 is a big deal for us because that mounts up a lot. So thanks for the support. We look forward to. Oh, what?
I was going to say, so many gave so much for so few for so little. Ha! See?
For the one. All the way back around.
Because there can be only one.
Wow. Yes. No. What? Yes. But yeah, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, please do come along. We're really excited to talk about. I assume we are naked now, naked time, naked people. It's about naked.
The Naked Now. The Naked Time was the first one.
Yes. Da, 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 da. That's the one, right? Da, 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 da,
No.
Stuart, final word. Go.
Could have been worse.
No,
Not too
word.
bad.
Final word.
Oh. Bird.
Bye, guys.